Welcome back to A Moment in History. I'm Seth Udinsky. The birth of Jesus Christ is a true story with all the elements of an epic classic. It's a story of scandal and cataclysmic proportions full of ancient prophecies finally fulfilled. But it's also a tale of deep political intrigue, for when the King of the Jews was born on Christmas morning in little Bethlehem some 2,000 years ago, there was of course another king reigning over Judea, a scoundrel who saw the birth of Jesus as a threat to his rule. This was the same king, interestingly enough, who resurrected the physical temple of the ancient capital city of Jerusalem, Herod the Tetrarch. Now, Herod was likely born in 73 BC and rose to the throne over Judea in the year 37 BC. Now, to be clear, Herod was not heir to the ancient Davidic throne of the Kingdom of Jerusalem. He was instead something of a puppet ruler, a tetrarch instituted by the power of the ruling Roman authorities as something of a regional prince. His actual political authority was not quite to the same level as a true king of Israel, and certainly not even near the political authority of even a Roman governor, let alone the Roman emperor. Still, Herod wielded some authority and influence, and that influence was felt perhaps most prominently in his architectural projects that dotted the cityscape of Jerusalem. His most famous, of course, was his commissioning of a rebuilt temple known in history as Herod's Temple. Though it was not as significant as Solomon's ancient temple of old, it was once again a visible reminder of the Jewish faith, that is until the Romans destroyed it in 70 AD, as Jesus would predict some 40 years earlier. Now, speaking of Jesus, Herod's most infamous actions in his life came as a result of the birth of Jesus at the very end of Herod's reign. Jealous of his rule and threatened by Jesus' long prophesied title as King of the Jews, Herod met with a group of magi from the east who were seeking to worship the baby Jesus. Herod lied to these men, telling them that he was also interested in worshiping the baby king, when in fact his only interest was to kill the boy. Now, when Herod was outwitted by the Magi, as the Apostle Matthew tells us in his Gospel, he was enraged. He ordered that all baby boys ages 2 years and younger be slaughtered in the regions surrounding Bethlehem in an effort to kill the baby Jesus. Well, unbeknownst to Herod, Jesus' earthly father Joseph had been warned in a dream to take his family and flee from Bethlehem and escape to Egypt with his wife and infant son. Well, the Holy Family narrowly escaped Herod's wrath, and the Lord Jesus survived the slaughter. Now, Herod was unsurprisingly a madman with numerous inter-family scandals and a possible history of mental instability himself. In the same year that he killed the infant boys of Bethlehem, Herod himself would die, replaced by his son Herod Antipas, who would oversee part of Jesus' execution trial some 30 years later. Thanks so much for joining me once again for A Moment in History.